Hi guys, I'm Simulator Tech, and today I'm going to build my dad a new keyboard. This keyboard was ridiculously difficult to mod, so make sure to stick around for the whole video. My dad's requirements for this keyboard were that it has to have a numpad and function row, the switches have to be light and linear, wireless would be nice but is not required, and the total has to be under $100. At first, I wanted to go with the Royal Kludge RK100. It checked all of the boxes, and was on sale for around $57. Which will leave about $40 or so for the switches and keycaps. But sadly, I waited too long and the price of the board went up to $80. Since that board was off the list, I went with the next best option, the Keychron C2. It was a full-sized hot swap wired keyboard. The lack of wireless connectivity allowed for a price of only $65. Plus my dad had some coupons for it, which dropped the price. With the keyboard out of the way, it was time to choose some switches. The Keychron comes with some Gateron Pro Reds, which would have been an okay option, but we kinda bought the switches before the keyboard. The switches we bought were JWK JWICs in the ice white color. These switches are very light, with an actuation force of 37 grams and a bottom out force of 40 or 45 grams. I'm actually not sure since different places say different things. They also come pre-lubed, which is a nice to have. I bought 100 of these off Divinity for only 23 cents a switch, which is an absolute steal when compared to something like Gateron Yellows, which really need to be lubed and filmed to sound good. If you want to learn more about these switches, then you should check out my review of them, which will be linked in the top right of the video. The Keychron C2 came in a nice box. Inside there was some foam, a couple cards, a keycap puller, a switch puller, a nice braided USB cable, the replacement keycaps for switching from Mac to Windows, and of course the keyboard itself, which comes in a plastic wrap. My first impressions of the board are that it looks really sturdy. The case was made out of plastic, but the build quality was really amazing for the price. Here's a quick sound test of how it sounds without any mods. Now let's get to modding this keyboard. First, let's remove these keycaps. They are double shot ABS, but are surprisingly thick and look quite good. Next, let's remove the switches and screws. Once that has been done, the plate and PCB can be removed from the case. And this is where I ran into my first problem. The bottom and the top plastic pieces were clipped together really tight, and I really could just not figure out how to take it apart. Like seriously, I had to pry the case for like an hour before it came apart, so sadly I wasn't able to record that process. Once that was done, I added some foam to the case, but I later replaced it with some polyfill because the PCB sat too high and the switches wouldn't seat properly. I then added a few layers of tape to the back of the PCB into the PE foam mod, which caused me to end up bending a bunch of pins, but that's fine because I could bend them back. Now, you may have noticed that I haven't talked at all about the stabilizers up until this point, and that's because of a couple reasons. First of all, I didn't end up recording taking out or putting in the stabs or switches because the switches wouldn't seat right because of the foam in the case. Second of all, the stabs were glued in, like why would you ever do that? Sorry for that. It took me an hour to scrape and pry the stabs off. After that, I lubed the stabilizers. I lubed the housings and stems with Krytox 205G0, and I lubed the wires with Permatex dielectric grease. Overall, the stabs were just okay, not much rattle, but a little bit mushy. Finally, after all of that, I could put the board back together. Now you would think that after all of that effort, this keyboard would sound absolutely amazing, right? Well, it sounds better, but not nearly as much better as I would have hoped. But it's okay because my dad just wanted to put O-rings on the keys anyways. Now that that cursed build is done, here's the sound test. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this kind of content, then drop a like and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.